G'day guys, welcome to Chilltime with Jose. As you guys may notice, I may need a haircut as well because my fringe is becoming way too big. Okay, so I can't actually spike my fringe up that much. It's becoming way too big, so I'm gonna have to part off to the side and I've just ruined my hair a bit more. But yeah, it's been a very interesting week in CSGO. I think there's been it's been more popular than the transfer window in the EU football. Like literally last few days, like the football deadline where like everyone fucking suddenly transfers their best players elsewhere and stuff like that. It's been this kind of week, that kind of week where basically a lot of things have happened. Like a lot of transfers have happened. 100 fees pulling out, and Forze Serge getting his ban rescinded. I actually didn't expect him to get it fully rescinded. I expect him to get, at least two of the bans off, because two of the bans were, I'll tell you now, he did not do anything. Like, you can tell he just sat there at the thing. And what else happened as well? Complexity trying to pick up JKS. That's another one as well. There's been a lot of news everywhere. And, given the fact that, just in case you guys are wondering as well, just in case you guys are wondering who came on a bit early, is because there's the DreamHack qualifiers on at the moment. And I do want to get the show on the road to get it done. And then we'll get into some CSGO. Okay, we'll get into some DreamHack Open, cast a few games, and we might cast close the second part of the Open qualifier tomorrow. And then we'll cast the closed qualifier the day after, most likely. I'll get in touch with the DreamHack guys to make sure I cast the DreamHack Masters closed for Oceania. If not, I'll be casting MDL instead. So no big deal at all, just in case you guys are wondering. So that's all on this weekend. Also as well, probably after the DreamHack Open games, because they end at the BO4 stage, I believe, we'll be probably looking through my Among Us clips to get some highlights to send to my editors, so we can get a YouTube video of all my Among Us highlights, and we can get that started, basically. So all of my Among Us highlights with Rifkin's group, I won't really consider anything of the little Dead by Daylight games, stuff like that, but if there's a few funny ones in there, but mainly of the actual gameplay and stuff like that, because it can't unfortunately get a actual game going. Do you reckon Saw can take a map of FaZe? No. Saw played absolutely terribly against Virtus Pro, and FaZe are a lot stronger. FaZe are a lot stronger. Never mind, you're not late. You're not late. It's the intro at the moment. Now, so far, I've seen some absolutely disgusting news outside of CSGO, being mainly with Valorant, as you guys may have noticed. If you guys have been seeing the retweets of the guys not claiming their prize money, and typical TOs. Typical TOs. D-Hard 2. North and Sprout will be a close game. Merz, like, g'day, letters. G'day, Hugh. Hugh, dude, I gotta tell you now, you should not be talking to casters about who you should bet on or not, okay? Because it's actually really bad for anyone who's doing any production. They can't tell you either way because they know information that only they know and that you shouldn't know, like inside information. So they can't advise you either way because it's actually, they can get themselves banned by ESL, they can get themselves banned by Valve, either or kind of thing. It's like a 1 and 2 year ban, and I kind of don't want it, okay? F Riot? No, it's not Riot's problems. Actually, I think it's Trovo is one of them. And Trovo has finally responded. Because I think, I forget his name. It's like MMNZZZ, what the fuck is the name called? Just every time I try to pronounce the name, it gets worse and worse because I have no idea. He's been retweeting this non-stop. Because, there's TOs that are not paying. And it used to be an issue in CSGO. Now it's an issue in Valorant. And it's just getting disgusting where, players who've made the switch to get to get a bit of exposure and to win a few tournaments are still having the same bullshit when they're getting screwed over. I think one of them was by Nerfed, I think his name is, where they are getting, they won $400 in a tournament, okay? Now it's going down to $300 because of all the transaction fees and everything that Trovo is keeping, which is dude, what the fuck? I'm sitting there going come on, guys, just pay them the goddamn money. Just pay them the goddamn money, Thoughts? Probably Vitality. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure, but I just can't believe some of the shit that people are pulling. And also, there's some actually really good talent. I think one of them was Pulse. There's some really good talent in there that I'm not sure if they've been paid. That's the worst part. Dude, Hugh, man, I am not born yesterday, okay? I am not born yesterday, okay? When you ask for your forwards, I'm well known that you're going to go betting on them and then probably DM the teams if they lose. But I'm looking up Vitality. I think Vitality will win that one. Just telling you, man, I'm not born yesterday. But, you know, there's been a lot of, like, I think the Pulse one has been a lot of talent in there as well. I'm wondering if they got paid, if the players didn't get paid, to be honest. Anyways, let's get up to the news, okay? So let's get up to the first one, and the big one is the 100 Thieves leaving CSGO. No, the Diamond Stuff Newbridge is not... Diamond Stuff Newbridge is for Trovo. The Pulse one is that the players who won the tournament have not been paid at all. But anyways, let's talk about 100 Thieves leaving CSGO. Pretty disappointing, actually. But not entirely unexpected, given the information I received as well. Given the fact that Nadeshot basically... I think it was the 100 Thieves, like a merchandise company, and the esport arm is just, you know, really, really bad. And he also took the shit out of his CSGO team on his stream, which is not exactly the greatest thing that you want to do, because your CSGO players don't want to play for you if you kind of do that. I think that's pretty stupid from Nadeshot to say something like that, in my opinion. He's been pretty good as a, CEO of org. I feel like it's a massive missed opportunity for 100 Thieves here, because they really didn't get their players involved too much in their content creation. Like, I feel like they would have been very, very good for content creation, like, you know, Gratisfaction, Azar, JKS. Like, I think they would have been down for some content creation. I think they just missed something here, 100 Thieves. And they really didn't get so much out of their investments. Like, the first time they came into CSGO, they picked up the Immortals lineup, and basically they dropped them 2 days later. Then they picked up the Renegades lineup, and I just don't understand what Nadeshot, like, what happened, to be honest. And, you know, I think it's a real missed opportunity for 100 Thieves. Real missed opportunity, and a 12-month investment into a team, and you're going, like, we want to win majors against, you know, the fact that 100 Thieves are performing quite well at the moment. Like, they're performing quite well. They top the groups in IM New York, and they've got a really easy bracket to the grand final. Like, they're not versing, you know, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, or Furia into the grand final. I think they could have a good thing here. Did you think COVID had an impact on the decision? No. 100 Thieves is still selling so much merch, it's not even funny at the moment. I think it's because of the fact of probably the rumors that JKS is going to Complexity. And kind of at the moment, I can understand why Complexity are doing it, because Complexity need a star player at the moment, because at the moment they've got players that can build around a star player. They don't have that star player in their mix. Their star player was Obo before he went back to North America. Now for the 100 Thieves though, 100 Thieves they could probably build around, like I say, 100 Thieves could have snagged Obo, okay, off Complexity, given that Obo had quit. And they could probably get Obo and build a team around Obo. But I have no idea why 100 Thieves didn't do that. I just feel like 100 Thieves, massive opportunity in the NA org. I feel like they just didn't put in much into the CSGO team, because there are some quality guys in here as well. Like, you know, quality guys in here that could have built to their content creation. Like, seriously, could have. What's the other thing as well is... Oh, there's another thing I want to mention as well with NA... with 100 Thieves. So now, what are players going to do after this? I'm not terribly too sure. I did discuss it earlier on another YouTube video. But they can come back to Australia. They can stay in NA. Like, you know, Gen G has a few spots because a few players went to Valorant. Probably as well, just to add on to the previous one, I think the 100 Thieves ducked out because they lost their coach, and then they're going to lose JKS. You know, Chet going with NRG to Valorant. And, you know, JKS going to Complexity. So it's going to be pretty hard to kind of recover from that angle as well. But I just feel like it's just a massive opportunity. I think 100 Thieves probably will regret this. Like, you know, they'll probably try to pick up another CSGO team, and they'll just give it like 6 or 12 months. It's just like, yeah, you're wasting. Like, you know, they didn't really go in for the long haul. They really went for a team. They were expecting quick results. They didn't get those quick results, and then they want to duck out, basically. And either it's a failed investment from their end, I assume, or they're just really short-term thinkers and stuff like that, and really didn't get their product or investment really involved with their content creators, because they've got a lot of great content creators in there, and like, you know, got a really lot of great guys in the team that can create content and are exciting and are fun to be with. So I'm just a bit perplexed that, you know, like players like Gratisfaction, you know, who's very fun to be with, Azar and a few others, weren't really involved in the content creators angle, you know, wasn't really involved at all. And I'll go through the main points at the same points at the moment. And the main thing as well, like they want to create a champion quality team. I think 100 Thieves got pretty close multiple times to winning tournaments. Like they were losing to really good teams, and they were being semi-competitive in this. I think there's only one drag factor where they were playing incredibly poorly, and that was just after a coaching transition. So I don't think, you know, this is kind of the play from 100 Thieves. Now, trying to get to another NA org, especially for the Australian guys, can be really difficult. Given that Jacob has had offers from various Norwegian orgs, I'm going to say Apex, Nordavin might be notably a few. And JK is probably going to get an offer from Complexity, because Complexity do need a all-star player. Now, that leaves the three people being Azar, Liaz, and Gratisfaction. Now, they can even rebuild their team in Australia. Problem is they have no NA org, and I don't think any NA org is going to take on a team during COVID. So, and I don't think, you know, Azar and all that are going to start streaming all of a sudden, try to get a bit of money and, you know, fund their tournament runs and stuff like that. I think they're going to need an org, and this is going to be the tough part, because I don't think there's going to be any org in NA that's going to pay them, you know, the amount they're getting in 100 Thieves. They're going to have to take probably a large pay cut, okay? And Sponge has said that they should go into either Valorant or just find another NA team, being, you know, Gen G. They need 2 players and stuff like that. And, you know, there's always spaces available in various NA teams. Now, he's also said don't go back to AU because the quality of Australian CS isn't really that high. But, you know, I kind of view it in a different aspect, that they could really mentor a lot of players in the AU scene that do have a lot of, you know, potential. You know, I talked about ASAP, I talked about Danny G, I talked about the younger players, you know, Vexite, for example, maybe even the mid-range players like, you know, Dambio and a few others as well, like a few other really good players like Chelios, who else, Zeph as well, but Zeph's always been a great player. A lot of the young guys in the scene who are, you know, getting on the glimpse, you know, Zilla as well is actually, even though they need like a lot of Rooster players, you can understand what I mean. Like, you know, there's young players on those teams, Lays, for example, as well, that are really on the cusp. You know, they've got the skills there, but they don't have, you know, they maybe not very experienced in the professionalism aspect. And I feel like they could mentor those players where we can have another team in NA, where an NA org will actually consider an Australian team, just like Renegades have in the future. And I think that could be a possibility where, you know, AU teams could just realistically go to, you know, NA, maybe Legacy, for example. They could be, you know, one of those teams that could do that as well. Like, you know, get a team and go into NA and see what happens. But, you know, that's what I feel at the moment, that, you know, a lot of mentoring could be done in the AU scene to make the AU scene a lot better overall. Because I actually talked about this on a various podcasts where they were talking about how there's too many like good players playing with friends and stuff like that, rather than playing to become a better player themselves and to make a super team in Australia. And I think they pointed out APOC and Ofnu generally as being, you know, players that can potentially do that. Now, this is the hard part, because it's like, you know, you want to play a game to have fun. Like, this is the hard part. Do you want to play a game to make a job, or play a game to have fun? Now, if you want to know a team that was having fun, obviously, Damio and the Lakers were a team that was just going to have fun. Damio, of course, wants to be pushing over to, you know, a professional team. He's always been wanting to do that, and he's just haven't got a team yet for various reasons. Probably, I'm going to say probably right now, potentially the people he associates with, and that's the tough part, is, you know, trying to be like, you know, I'm going to be a serious player, and the players you associate with are a bit memey in their teams and don't put the practice in, or, you know, that kind of thing for various reasons, because they're not taking it seriously, or, you know, I don't know, because they just want to be edgy. Now, you know, that kind of thing, okay? Like, you know, there are players looking for teams and stuff like that. I've completely forgot my train of thought here, but all I'm going to say is that if they do come back to Australia, like, you know, I don't think it would be like the be all and end all. Like, I know they're not going to get rewarded for their effort, but they're going to put probably a big pathway for the AU CSGO scene if people do decide to take the opportunity and like build a team and see if an NA org will pick them up, kind of thing. and really compete in the NA scene. And that's how I feel like, that teams kind of have to do here in AUs, really just build up for the other scenes, whether it be EU or AU at the moment, or NA, because the AU scene is kind of suffering. We can even make the AU scene better, which is doable. It's doable. You got a lot of great, potential players here. Like, have you seen a player like ASAP's 18? Have you seen a player as consistent as ASAP? Like, have you seen ASAP have a bad game in Rooster? Like a game where he is negative KDR and the bottom ADR of his team? Never seen it. I don't see it either. You got some great players here. And like, maybe some players who've got the experience can come back and mentor these players. And that's not exactly a bad thing. It's not exactly a bad thing. I can understand what Sponge is saying from their angle. It's a bad thing because they're going to take a massive pay cut and they may never get the NA opportunity ever again. He's completely right about that. But it's not going to be a bad scene for the AU scene overall if they do come back. A lot of people have done this as well. I've talked about this on my other YouTube video, like Zello from Nexus. He got offers from Hellraisers. He probably could have got an offer for Na'Vi. Probably could have got an offer from Virtus Pro. But he chose to stay in Nexus to develop the Romanian scene. So, you got to kind of realize that as well. Like, he stayed in Romania, with his friends. And that's what, kind of a lot of people did highlight on. Like, the sacrifices you make to go to that professional level or to be with your friends. And then you get up later, 30 years of age and be like, I could have played with Hellraisers and got a lot of money and that's it. But I didn't because I want to play my friends. And it's a very, very hard age-old argument with that, with a lot of people who play with their fans, like Damio, for example. And I'm not totally too sure what is the right answer in this circumstance. Whether you want to build a professional scene where people play with people who, on paper would work well together, or people where their personalities would mesh and, maybe, be friends with and stuff like that. And I feel like, this is a bit of a stupid dilemma that people are going for. They're like going like, you play with your friends or you play to win money. I think it's got to be a balance of both. You got to have them both combined where the personalities mesh and the players are good and all wanting to aim the same goal. Because if you don't, you have a dysfunctional team. And I think a lot of people got to realize that some of the players are going to be friends with each other. Otherwise, you'll know that they're not friends with each other on the CSGO, CSGO field and stuff like that. Like, you'll know that they're not friends with each other. I think it's going to be a bit of both. So I don't think, criticizing players for playing with their friends is kind of a right move to do so. Like, if they're not, if they don't want to get better, then it's their prerogatives. They don't want to get better, that kind of thing. You got to take it of that angle as well. It's like that's their choice at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. I'd rather the Australian scene get a lot better and we become more recognized and respected and we get, more eyes on us instead of, what's happening now where the AU scene is kind of a joke and people say that we're just bad and stuff like that. I do prefer that. But at the end of the day, the players are human too. And, we got to give them an angle that they can actually achieve something out of this instead of just constantly shitting on them non-stop. Like, I reckon we got a lot of young talent here that if they put their minds to it and build a team and they put in the practice and put in the effort, they could be going down to NA and shitting on NA MDL teams and pawning American noobs. Okay, just like, just paraphrasing a Sponge there. Okay? So if they put the effort in, like just say their top 8 teams, for example. I know Vertex. Vertex is probably a good example of players playing with their friends and being good. Rufflecrow and stuff like that. We can make it happen. And, I want to give it to these teams. I want to give these teams opportunity to really develop themselves and get up to that high-end meta. Anyways, guys, let's get up to the next story because I spent probably about 30 minutes discussing that, not 23 minutes. But let's get to the next story. Is that the other one is probably a reason why that, 100 Thieves are breaking apart is that JKS wants to go to Complexity, okay? Complexity want to sign him. I gotta tell you now, if JKS wants money, Complexity will sign him in an instant. Complexity want him because they need a playmaker, okay? Just in case you guys are wondering, Complexity do not have Obo. Like, Complexity have Rush, Config, Poison, and Blame F. They were trying to get Native Safix as their main playmaker because Native Safix is a pretty clutch player and he's also an AWPer as well, so good secondary AWP, good rifler, good clutch player. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll be able to... They'll be able to afford Native Safix, but they went after JKS because they just need a rifler. They've already got enough AWPers in that team to begin with, so they don't really need Native Safix on the secondary AWP. And JKS is obviously the best player in 100 Thieves and the main playmaker and the main player that they build around. So, I don't really blame him. You've got complexity, you've got the best training facilities, a lot of money. Jason Lake, where do you start? Okay, like, kind of expected, to be honest. And, if he's added in, and it'll probably be a very, very good thing to just line up. And then JKS will probably go to Europe because I don't think Complexity are coming back to NA. Okay? I'm going to be blatantly honest. I don't think they're coming back to NA. I think they're going to be a pure EU team, most likely. And we'll see what happens, I think a lot of CSGO teams are moving to EU because I think the NA scene, given that the fact that most of the NA scene has gone to Valorant, I think the NA scene will be languishing for a bit before they come back in. And I've got to give credit to some of the NA orgs that try to keep it up. But I think the NA scene is going to go for a really, really rough period where there's going to be, like, I don't know, a lot of teams trying to prove themselves and a lot of IGLs gone. Like, for example, we had Zan's gone. Ocean's still around, actually. Ocean could pop up again. And Josh RT, like a lot of IGLs raising young players to the bar and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about when, the player, when I said the Australia players can come back and mentor players, I'm talking about, the Ocean, Zans, and Josh RT, where they would mentor players up to a professional standard and then launch them onto the MDL scene. That's what I'm talking about when I say the Australian players should come back, just to reiterate, go back to that point. Now, that's kind of expected, to be honest, that, JKS would go for more money. The problem with Complexity, though, they notice, is that JKS is in the peak form of his career. JKS, I think he's 27, I believe. No, he's 24, that's right. He's in the peak area of his career, where he's at his prime, and that's going to go slow. That's going to, plateau for a bit and then slowly go down afterwards. And that's why probably Jason Lake was really upset they lost Obo, because Obo had such a high ceiling compared to JKS. But, JKS is probably a good replacement for Obo. He's a playmaker, great rifler, and great entry as well. And he'd probably be the main playmaker for, Complexity. And congratulations if they do get him in the end. What do you expect? I would get him too. Next one's going to be another one, which is Nevera's joining Vitality. So he's leaving Heretics to join Vitality as the sixth person. I do not understand this sixth person of CSGO. I really do not understand it. I do not know why teams are getting 6 players. Okay? Don't really understand it, okay? But, that's what's going to happen. Nevera's going to be 6th player for Vitality. Good player, good pickup. However, the one thing I'll probably watch out for is that Nevera can be inconsistent. Okay, who followed me in the end? Sorry, I can't see it. I better turn off alerts while I'm in the middle of this, but thank you for following Bamba Gamer. So basically, I feel with this one with Nevera's 6th player, I don't like the 6-player rosters. I just feel like sometimes they just really put talent to pasture where they can't really develop as they, can't really get that game. What am I going to say? Bamba, I don't do that on this channel, dude. I actually don't do this on your YouTube vid either. I just don't get it where, the players don't get any experience against the top teams or anything like that. I'm super, super confused. I don't understand why they would do that. So, yeah, So, Nevera is selected, and he's going to be 6th for Vitality. I'm not sure who he's going to replace, to be honest. Vitality has already got a pretty solid team to begin with. And yeah, I'm just not terribly too sure what's going to happen. G'day, Bowserman, what's up? I'm not sure what's going to happen here. I'm not sure what they're trying to play for here, Vitality, with adding Nevera to the roster. Nevera has a very high potential, okay? Very high skill ceiling. His only issue at the moment is that he can be very, very inconsistent. And when he's inconsistent, he's basically quiet as a mouse. And you can probably notice it in a lot of Heretics gameplay as well. When Nevera isn't firing, Heretics just have no chance. Anyways, next one is going to be this. This is a big one in ESIC, okay? So we did kind of talk about this 2 weeks ago when we were reviewing. Remember when we were reviewing all the YouTube clips of all the players that got banned? And we noticed that Serge's clips were all him just staring at positions and that's it. And he didn't move. I think it was one of them he moved his mouse. And 2 of them, basically, he didn't move his mouse at all. Basically, I think he was facing the wall in Dust 2 and facing window in Mirage. And I was thinking okay, the one that he moved his mouse around, maybe he gets banned for that, okay? Maybe he gets banned for that one. But the other ones where he was standing deadly still, I'd be okay, he's not doing anything at all. What he said about he left his computer and look at it might lend a bit of weight to it because he didn't move his camera. Let's see. Did you get my demo idea? Yeah, I did. I haven't actually really iterated yet. I looked at it, but I haven't really focused on it too at all. I predicted it. Yeah, you did predict it actually. Like I kind of said that he would get some bans rescinded, but not all of them, because one of them he did move his mouse around in the camera. Like we watched it. I think it was on Overpass where he moved his camera a bit around, and I was thinking, okay, it's gonna get done for that because he can't be like, I wasn't there for that, kind of thing. But in the end, he got rescinded, and I'm happy for them. He probably got unfairly, he got on like a large ban unfairly because two of them he didn't move his mouse, and I think you got to give it to like maincast and stuff like that to kind of prove his innocence. Now, there's been a few tweets about it as well. So there's been a few tweets about it, and essentially what happened is that that maincast did contact them, basically confirmed that Serge wasn't doing it and stuff like that. And that's what happened. So basically he received the green light. It's hard, he basically had the evidence, and basically that maincast he was doing on-air works is a funny thing as well. I think ESIC got to be a lot careful with the investigation because they could have actually seen that he was on the desk of maincast while the game was playing, and that explains like every single one, okay? Like that he was not actually there at his computer, so it wasn't him. And actually kind of proved that. So yeah, so he got his tweet, he's been unbanned, he's been unchained, and we got a few tweets here as well. I think Lag, he also comes to my stream a lot. Surprised it took so long. They're trying to get a poker unbanned as well. I think he could be unbanned in the future as well. No one has done a podcast on that, but it'll take a lot of patience. Yeah, I not too sure about like Astralis and stuff like that anyway. There was actually one retweet by a caster in this as well, which I don't want to really mention, is that they said that how many wrong judgments have ESIC done and how much livelihoods have they ruined and stuff like that. Really antagonizing ESIC for no real reason. I'm like thinking no, maybe Roban potentially as well. But I'm gonna say like Roban and cases like Serge and stuff like that. I'm gonna say that now. I think they're more in a minority than in the majority. I think a lot of players that did use the bug used it maliciously. Like there's gonna be a few players like Roban, for example, Serge, for example, where they didn't even do anything, okay? There was accident, they got out of it, they're done, they didn't do anything, okay? Like, they didn't do anything wrong. They innocently did it, okay? I think it's going to be more of a minority, and I don't think anyone should be going like, this ruined so many people's careers for like little innocent mistakes. I don't think you should be doing that when there's a lot of players using it maliciously. And we just have to look at Zona, for example. Like, Zona, the entire Hard Legion coaches, 3 of them, all caught using it. Like, I think they caught a lot of people that did abuse it, and probably there's going to be 1 or 2 people that didn't abuse it. And probably have to be a review in ESIC's investigation in the future to actually give some time to the players for the people to actually respond. To say, there's like, there's an accusation, you'll be temporarily banned when you respond, or maybe not temporarily banned, but, you can coach in the tournaments that are already ongoing, but any future tournaments you cannot coach until this thing is being dealt with, this kind of thing. And that's what I feel like, some things have got to be done here with ESIC's investigation. Instead of you being saying, oh yeah, you guys are all banned, you have to appeal your innocence. While you appeal your innocence, you can't be coaching any other games. I think there needs to be something looked at on the way they investigate and the way they do the accusations. 100% agree with that. Is that they should go, okay, these players, these coaches, or next time, whatever, these coaches or players, whatever, they've been accused of this and that. Did you watch the 31-29? No, I did not. But that, which is between Mythic and Incognito, it's their overtime game that went on forever. But yeah, you probably want to take a look at the way they investigate and probably not put the coaches being banned immediately without them submitting a defense. Unless it's a new tournament, of course. Like for a new tournament, out of good faith, not to coach that, but any tournament is active, they're allowed to coach it because, of course, they were eligible before they did so. And try to get the investigation done really, really quickly. And that's how I feel like they should kind of go with these investigations in the future for ESIC. Just a bit of food for thought. And a lot of these things, you don't realize how bad it is until it actually happens. How bad their systems that they've got in place are until you actually go through the system itself. Because a lot of systems seems ideal when you look at them. But when you actually do it, it's completely different. I mean, one example could be, well, to be political communism, okay? It seems ideal, seems good, everyone being equal, but in reality, doesn't work because other stuff happened that no one really probably could theorize pretty much. So yeah. Next up, we're going to go through all the transfers. There's a lot of transfers. Honorous owned a new lineup. Got rid of Stomp. They got rid of Prism. Neo and Taz built up a whole bunch of youngsters in the Polish scene. Once again, this is, kind of what I'm talking about. Even if Azra and Co come back, they can build up their own scene. Like, Taz and Neo building up, the young players to get them into the CSGO scene, instill some professionalism with them, and build the next, crop of talent. Next up is Dobbo. Basically, just in case you're wondering, Mezzi left to Cloud9. Dobbo's been picked up from the UK scene to replace King Mezzi, and I think that's going to be a hard one to replace King Mezzi. Good luck for Dobbo, but I think it's going to be really, really hard to replace King Mezzi in that lineup, given the fact that King Mezzi was the third best player in the entirety of MDL, and his team was negative and not in the top 8, which is kind of incredible for a player in such a bad team to be doing so well. And, of course, I think Richard Lewis talked about this where Reddit was shitting on King Mezzi because he apparently wasn't good. I'm sitting there going like, do you guys even watch MDL? Like, if you watch MDL, you know that King Mezzi's like something coming up. He's an up-and-coming player. But yeah, so basically, Dobbo's coming in now. I think it'll be, I gotta say now, it's going to be a decent replacement, but it's not going to replace Mezzi in that team. Not going to replace Mezzi in that team at all. So Dignitas signs 2 players, Heap and Harry. Harry from Nordavind's kind of expected. And probably kind of confirms that Nordavind is going to fall apart, or Nordavind's going to undergo a big restructure. And then Heap's being picked up as well, replacing Get Right and replacing Exist in that lineup. So we're going to have 2 more, a Norwegian and a Swede in the roster. So it's going to be Forrest, Halzerk, Freiberg, Harry, and Heap. And, I think they're trying to build a young roster to really, get the experience into Halzerk and, really build around Halzerk in the end. I kind of agree with them with Exist, getting rid of Exist. They need a IGL that can frag, and Exist is far past those fragging days. And Exist has kind of questionable map vetoes at times, okay? Questionable map vetoes. I think, could be the end of Exist. I'm not totally too sure. Get Right, I'm on the fence about. I'm not sure. Get Right was still performing quite well, okay? That's the thing. Get Right still had decent performances, and I'm not sure about this one for Dignitas. Not sure at all. I think Get Right was... You got Heap in, probably unproven talent. That's probably what they're going for. They're probably going for the unproven talent. They know Get Right can play very well, but I think it might be in the wrong move. I feel like Get Right was probably the better player. And if they're going to go with, players being bad, they really should have got rid of Freiberg, because Freiberg had a worse ADR and a lot of worse stats than Get Right. And I feel like Get Right was definitely the wrong option there. Now, the Astralis, well, Cloud9 get their 5th, which is their ESIC, by the way. And Astralis basically go, we're not building a 10-man team anymore. Yeah, we fucking knew that at the start when you started delisting Yugi and stuff like that. And I had a kind of feeling underground was that it wasn't actually them trying to get a second team. They spun it that way. But I feel like if they were trying to strong-arm Glaive and Sipnix into receiving pay cuts. That's what I think it could be. Because it seems weird now that they go from we're building a second team and then they sell ESIC, their best player. So it seems odd. It seems odd to me. Something feels off. People can probably yell at me and I'll probably get corporate politics now because I said one of the things that it could be. Most likely they probably abandoned a 10-man idea because of COVID-19 and because Astralis is struggling with money. So they need to sell one of the players that were peaking, which would be ESIC, and they sold him to Cloud9. Now, ESIC's great rifler. He would fit into Cloud9's roster very well with Alex, Mezzi, and a few others. All the other guys in there as well. So it fit in quite well with, there you go. There's Team Floppy, Woxic, Mezzi, Alex, and ESIC. And I think that'll be a very, very good move for Cloud9. And ESIC's been playing well on LAN already. He hasn't really proven himself on LAN. No, he has proven himself on LAN, actually. He's been very good on LAN. And, yeah, kind of picked it up there. But just in case you guys are wondering, that's only a bit of speculation. I think it could be a pay struggle between the two teams because when the ESIC left, Sipnix came back. So I think, I think something went down behind the scenes with Astralis' lineup. because now they'll probably get Glaive and Zipnix will probably come back now, and I think Astralis has Bubsky as well, and Bubsky confirmed that Astralis offered him the same deal as well, where he could be transferred to another team. Okay, so that's why I'm thinking that. Okay, that's why I'm thinking that Astralis either abandoned their project to make a 10-man team, or the more nefarious and malicious one was they're trying to strong arm their players into dropping their wages because they know they're trying to make them feel like they're replaceable, that they can replace any one of them, basically. Because they picked up Exitlag and Bubsky, and inadvertently probably killed Tricked, well, now Lions, because they picked up Bubsky, Mad Lions' best player. And they picked up Exitlag to try and destabilize Heroic, which I'm going to tell you now, didn't have the intended consequences, given up they picked up Tezes, and it's just like, didn't work out that well, So yeah, so pretty much that's what's been happening. Exitlag left Astralis, and that's pretty much it. Now, that's why I kind of say, when I said what I said it before, allegedly, we got no proof of that. That's what my stomach is kind of saying, that could be that as well. Or, Astralis is like, we don't want a 10-man team. We don't have enough money. Our cash flow is low. We've been asking players to take pay cuts. So we got to sell these players that we've bought very quickly so we can make a buck. Kind of like what the Copenhagen Flames do at the moment, where they flip players to better teams and they make a profit off them. Next up is Bialy's Avers. So this is the funny part about it, because Avers had 2 games to play yesterday, and this led to Avers using all their wildcards because Bialy left. I have no idea where Bialy's going. He was, I'm not sure where Bialy's going at the moment, and he didn't want to sign a new one, so bit confusing. I think maybe Bialy's going to another team. Avers probably pick someone up, probably be pretty easy. I think Kay's not taking a break anymore. I think Kay will stay in, but I'm not sure where Bialy's going off to. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. We'll keep up to date on it. Maybe another Polish talent pops in as well. There's a few people on the Asia Nest bench as well. Maybe they pick up other Polish talent, but we'll see what happens. And they got to do it kind of quick, because rosters for postseason, I think, lock in about 2 days or so. So they got to do it pretty quick. Otherwise, Avers won't be able to play in the postseason. Or won't be able to play any of the games because they'll be roster locked. Next up is Copenhagen Flames sign Bialy leaving after losing to VP. Oh yeah, did they lose to VP? No, VP never went to the bottom bracket, did they? So I don't think, I don't think it would have been VP, would it? Or was it in the open qualifier that they lost to VP? Probably. So Copenhagen Flames signs Nico. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but it's really, really difficult. Nikudos. Maybe it's Nikudos. But basically signed to Copenhagen Flames. Basically is bought out from Singularity. And basically Singularity put Tobiz back onto the main roster. And basically now Copenhagen Flames have Basso, Jabi, Dafu, Nikodes, and Zip. I'm going to say here, this looks like the goddamn Lynchby Vikings roster at the moment. With Jabi and Dafu, because I know they're from the Lynchby Vikings previously. Next up is Apex bench Truth. This what gives into rumors that JCam's going back to Norway, is that a Norwegian team is benching a player. So I think Jacam will be offered a spot in the lineup with Apex, with Dennis in there as well. And that's what I think is going to happen potentially, is that Jacam might go to Apex. I don't think he's going to go to Nordavind, because Nordavind, I'm going to say right now, is probably dead and buried. I'm not sure what Nordavind are going to do with players in there, considering HS is left, Harry is left, Native Safix has left, so Harry, Native Safix, HS, and you could probably predict more people just walking out the door in that order. I think Tensky's might be leaving as well, might be trialing as well, so I think that team might be a bit dead, so it could be Jacam going to Apex. I'm not terribly too sure. Now next up is, as I said before, Tobiz retaining to the roster of Singularity. And last but not least, Edward returning to offers from Na'Vi. I don't think he'll get many offers, to be honest, given that he is 32. It was a close qualifier? Yeah, but that would have been the upper bracket, I would say, free letters, because VP never went into the lower bracket. That's what I'm saying. They never went into the lower bracket. So I think it was probably the upper bracket that had happened. Because I think Ava's last game would have been in the lower brackets. I don't think they would have been knocked out by VP then. Because VP didn't knock anyone out other than, not Godsend, other than Saw. But either way, last one but not least, but Edward being open to offers. To be honest though, with Edward, I don't think he's going to get many offers at 32. It's, you know, the only offers he's probably going to get is probably be IGL for certain teams that are, you know, below. I'm going to say, like, he's not going to be peaking it for teams that are above, but really for below. I'm not entirely too sure. It's not really like a swipe at Edward. It's just reality looking from the org's perspective that they're not really going to go for the older players and stuff like that. They're going to go for the younger players that have a higher skill ceiling. So I have a feeling, you know, they're going to go for the, you know, the lower tiers, maybe, you know, EU Advanced and stuff like that. You know, maybe like, I'm not crazy. Sorry, Crazy dropped their roster. But, you know, the other Ukrainian rosters being Project X. You know, that's the X Crazy roster. And a lot of the other CIS orgs where they do need a player that's been, you know, in the top tier scenes before to try and instill some discipline and some great tactics into the youth. And that's realistically, I'm going to say now, that's realistically where he's going to go. Because I don't see, like, where he's going to go. Like, for example, if I try to join an org right now, like me, let's say I try to join 100 Thieves or Renegades, if someone's 21 years old or 19 years old and same skill as me, they're going to go to the 21-year-old. They're not going to go to the 27-year-old. Thoughts on Mako v Lesse? I reckon Mako looking pretty good. I think Mako win that. Mako don't actually. Funny thing is, Mako have actually done really well in their last 5 games. They've actually climbed themselves out of relegation, which I'm actually impressed with. Lesse do have to win it as well. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for Chill Time with Jose today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, you can subscribe to YouTube below. You can also follow me on my other socials and my Twitch as well, where I go live with this kind of podcast, which is below as well. Yeah, you know, hope you guys learned a lot here, learned a lot, and got a bit more informed about the scene as well, and with my thoughts on what's going on within the scene at the moment. Now, guys, if you guys are still here from Twitch, you guys get to watch me probably cast some DreamHack Winter's Masters games, which are on right now, and I'll probably cast those until they finish for today. Let me just check how close they are at the moment to finishing, but that's what I've been doing so far. Now, overall, like, a lot of the questions and stuff like that about teams and stuff like that, you know, I can't really speculate on what the teams actually think until it comes out with the various journalists and stuff like that. I can give you my ideas, but I can't give you guys, like, you know, 100% proof that X is Y and stuff like that. So with a lot of my things where I've, you know, speculated on certain things, they're probably unlikely to be true. They're essentially just speculations on my part. So just remember that, guys. Anyways, guys, peace out for now. I'll be casting some DreamHack Masters winter matches if you guys are on my channel. If you guys are on YouTube, you can check me out on my socials, and I'll give you guys an update there. So, see ya.